guys, I trust you're well and ready for another Mastermind Content Masterclass, and in this video we're going to take a look at the difference between the wisdom hidden in esoteric symbolism versus the descriptions given by exoteric sources. Now we will discuss the differences and why it matters, and trust me, the difference between the two can make a huge difference to your life, so you need to know this. So like I said, this video we're going to discuss the difference between esoteric wisdom and exoteric symbolism. So let's first of all question, why is it important to know the difference between esoteric wisdom and exoteric symbolism? Now the simple answer for that is because exoteric symbolism can be misleading. And if you're using symbolism as a self-development tool, which you should be if you're smart, then misleading information can take you down the wrong path. You see, esoteric symbolism is a powerful self-development tool that can be used to guide your decision making. It helps you to ease through life by making the right choices more often than not. Now that means you get to where you want to be sooner and with fewer challenges. Now don't get me wrong, you're still going to face challenges, but understanding the wisdom within esoteric symbolism, it helps you to navigate those challenges with less conflict and resistance from your ego. And with the Mastermind Content Archetypes tool, self-development is even easier. The table reveals archetypal patterns of behaviours complex as instincts and emotions, so that you can identify which archetypes are influencing your life, where you're wounded, and various strategies that you can use to integrate the shadow self into conscious awareness. So let's get into this. What is exoteric symbolism? Why is it misleading? To answer that, let's take a look at the definition given in various dictionaries. So this one is from the Cambridge Dictionary, which says that exoteric meanings are intended or suitable for people generally, not only for some people. That definition is a bit esoteric. Let's have a look at another one. This is from the Merriam-Webster Dictionary, which actually provides a great two-tier response, and it says exoteric symbolism, or the word exoteric, means that it is suitable to be imparted to the public and belonging to the outer or less initiate circle. So let's take a look at the definition for esoteric given by the Cambridge Dictionary, which reads: very unusual and understood or liked by only a small number of people, especially those with special knowledge. The Merriam-Webster Dictionary gives us this: designed for or understood by the specially initiated alone, or B, requiring or exhibiting knowledge that is restricted to a small group, or more broadly, difficult to understand, and secondly, esoteric is limited to a small circle. So in other words, the meaning for exoteric symbolism should offer enough value to make it sound believable, but actually hides the deeper meaning, whereas esoteric meanings, the deeper meanings, are reserved for this limited group of people that want to protect the secrets of nature. So this is what I mean when I say that the information that you find in the public domain is not wrong, but it can misguide you because it doesn't give you the full extent of information or knowledge. Now if you're only given a snippet of information, then you can jump to the wrong conclusion, and that will lead you to making the wrong decisions. Oftentimes these decisions are life-changing decisions. So it's worth noting that most descriptions of symbolism that you'll find on the internet and in academic books written by various scholars are exoteric. Now this is the version that is pushed onto academics and the general public by educational institutions and practitioners of theology, philosophy and symbolism, that are protected by religious institutions. Now call that a conspiracy theory if you will, but my conclusion is taken from the definitions given in the dictionaries that I just showed you. Also, the fact that the interpretation of symbolism given by scholars is so superficial, the evidence is there and enough for me to determine that they've been taught the exoteric versions, or they are actually themselves being esoteric. Now, the issue that I find with exoteric symbolism pushed into the public domain is that it only reveals part of the symbol's true meaning. The deeper understanding of the symbol remains hidden, and this is precisely what happens on practically every website on the internet. I'm going to give you some examples. So first of all, let me explain what the astrologer and theosophist Alan Leo writes. He said the main difference between esoteric and exoteric astrology is that the former is concerned with man's actions within and with the power to harmonize himself with nature's laws, and the latter with man's impulses prompted by the action that are without. So here Leo is indicating that when we look within, we are looking at our natural laws, our normal human state, our emotions, our thoughts, our behaviours. But what does Leo mean with regards within and without? Well, esoteric symbolism describes which energies you are projecting from within into the outside world, and thus creating your experiences in life. Now, if you apply esoteric symbolism, you can identify these archetypal energies that come from within yourself into the outside world, because you can observe the energies in like a mirror effect. Now, this means that you can identify why problems are arising in your life and come up with strategies that enable you to make relevant changes that integrate the unexpressed aspects of your personality and improve the side of life that an archetype would contribute towards in a better way than the energies that you are projecting from within and without already. So by making these changes to how you think, feel and behave, you will project energies from within into the external world and create a different experience, one that you want to shape. Now, by without, Leo means exoteric symbolism focuses on things and events in the outside world. It suggests that something in the outside world is going to impact your life. Well, yeah, it's because the contents of your inner world, your subconscious mind, are creating your experiences in the outer world in the first place. So if you don't like what you're experiencing in the outer world, you need to upgrade your subconscious programs to upgrade your inner world, which means observing your inner world first by observing your outer world. That requires you to look within to see what you are expressing without. Does that make sense? Okay, let me put it another way. A symbol will give you an idea of how you can fix a problem you are experiencing in your life, or maybe give you confidence ahead of a new job or relationship, whatever. It will help you to know what you need to know about yourself that you don't know already. What you don't know already is hidden in the subconscious. It's not accessible by the ego, not accessible by the conscious mind. You don't know it yet. Esoteric symbolism prompts you to look within so that you can observe how you are creating your experiences in life, and then determine what you're not doing to create the experiences that you do want. So exoteric symbolism guides you to look at what you are unconscious of about yourself. Exoteric symbolism shows you that, oh, it might be this thing in the outer world that is going to happen to you. So then you start focusing on that. Well, sometimes what you focus on in the outside world will be what the symbol means, but not every time. It can't happen the same way every time in the way that exoteric symbolism explains it. which means that oftentimes the exoteric interpretations is more of a lottery than it is an actual guide. So let me give you an example of an exoteric statement that you will typically find in astrology, for example. So in this description that Alan Leo says directs our attention outwards onto the material world, it goes something like this. Libra is the sign of relationships and therefore represents both the deeper and material aspects of our most intimate relationships. It is about the things that are shared with others, such as resources, assets, money and values. So given the nature of exoteric symbolism as I've described before, i.e. that it's misleading, using exoteric sources, i.e. most websites on the internet, the advice may or not work for you. So can you see how this advice is prompting you to consider your intimate relationships in the external world, and it even directs you to consider resources, assets, money and values? Now there's an argument and a paranoia waiting to happen. But look, Libra doesn't only relate to external resources, assets, money and values, all of which are energies. The esoteric interpretation of Libra is that the evolution of conscious awareness transforms from instinct to intellect, intellect to intuition, and intuition to inspiration. So whereas resources, assets, money and values are exchanges of energy between you and other people in the external world, instinct to intellect, intellect to intuition and intuition to inspiration is an exchange of energy in the inner world. So if you look within, then you have a moment of enlightenment through this process from instinct to inspiration, which means that you have a moment of inspiration, and imagine what use you can make with that moment of inspiration. So maybe concentrate on a new idea instead, so that you can use resources, assets, money and values in the right way. So this is taking information coming from within and using it constructively in the outer world. So if you look outwards first and you've then focused on the resources, assets, money and values that the exoteric interpretation explains to you, you might not have any clue what you're supposed to be doing with them. You're wasting your time and your energy and you're going down the wrong path. But if you look within and allow your subconscious to be your guide, then you probably use these resources, assets, money and values in a much more constructive way. The other issue with the exoteric approach is that the information that you receive will only fix the issue on that particular occasion. So unless you learn from and adapt your behaviour, attitude, perceptions or whatever it is you need to change, you will continue to encounter the same issues, because it's only by transforming your inner world, the energy in your subconscious programs, that this knowledge, this inner wisdom becomes a new subconscious program. But using exoteric symbolism will typically keep you trapped in repetitive cycles because you're always looking outwards. So unless you figure out how to learn from the situations that you experience, you'll not transform that subconscious program into a new way of being. Esoteric symbolism, on the other hand, helps you to identify the energies that you are projecting that aren't serving you a constructive purpose, which means that you'll eventually learn how to understand why you are projecting these energies and what experiences these energies result in. Now this is what I teach you to do in the self-development program, but it's the most powerful tool for self-development there is that I know of, because we're projecting energy all the time. So if you learn how to read the program within your subconscious, then your external world becomes a book. It's like a personal life manual. You see your mistakes, you see your attachments, you see your destructive behaviours, and when you can see them, you can fix them and release repressed consciousness. When you release repressed consciousness and give unconscious energy life, you basically cultivate a richer quality of life. And it's essentially what Carl Jung's work alluded to, his process of individuation essentially means integrating unconscious content into the conscious mind. Basically means self-development requires self-realization. Okay guys, I'm going to wrap this up here, but if you like this video and would like more examples of how you can interpret esoteric symbolism, and also how to avoid misleading exoteric interpretations, then leave a message in the comments below and drop a like on the video. So if I get enough feedback, I'll look at releasing a second video which gives you some actual explanations from articles that I've written, which are published on the Mastermind content website. In fact, I do have an article specifically about the differences between exoteric symbolism and exoteric symbolism on my website. I'll also leave a link to that in the explanation below, but I also go deeper into this topic in the Beginner's Guide to Symbolism, and I also talk about it in the Essential Self-Development Guide as well. So if you want to support the channel and the business in general, I'd really appreciate it if you signed up for either of those two programs, if not both. Okay, thank you so much for watching. I'm Richard Oldale and you have been watching Mastermind content. I shall see you next time. Bye bye.